Welcome to video 3 on BrainSell's Growth Enablement Guide for Change Management. This is going to dive into stage 1, which is the unfreeze of the Lewin model of change management. So what happens in this stage? You're essentially preparing for change. So what should you be doing behind the scenes is really a deep dive of auditing what's currently in place, understanding what pain points exist, what items folks don't want to lose, and there's some folks holding on to an existing process, technology, whatever it may be, and understanding that desired state. This step is going to be crucial for you to be able to advocate for the change and also explain to folks why this change is coming and why it benefits them, the organization, or your future goals. So after you identify the reasons and the factors for these changes, the next step is really identifying who's going to be impacted by the change. Oftentimes we think about that immediate person who's going to be impacted or the team that's directly impacted. For example, with a CRM implementation, our first thought's always the sales team. And that is a great facet to be able to identify and a great thought to have. But what we really want to do is also think about the other periphery folks who will be impacted. So that would be your clients that the sales team's supporting. It would be the finance team who needs to see the metrics to be able to bill against quota. It would be the data analysts who might need to see those metrics. It would be any supporting team and maybe even the executives. The list goes on, but we really want to focus on who's directly impacted and then start thinking about those rippling effects so you can really understand who to communicate the change to, how each individual team is going to be impacted, and really ensure that we're thoughtful with the changes and how they impact each team and each person. So the third step after identifying those factors that are going to be changing and the folks that will be impacted would be to begin a communication strategy and plan. So communication is key during change management. Honestly, what we find with our clients and what research says is that uncertainty is one of the biggest contributing factors to change angst and folks being really just a little bit anxious about what's coming and not knowing what's coming or not knowing the why behind it. So really identifying that why of why are we going about this change and who's going to be impacted and how are they going to be impacted, and letting your teams know in advance of the change so that they don't feel caught off guard is going to be a great preventative factor for you to really ensure that there's buy-in and decrease the risk of attrition on your teams. So identifying a change manager is one of the key steps to being able to help with that. And that might be a small team, it might be an individual, depending on the scale of the change that's coming. But try to keep in mind somebody who's going to really be able to spearhead that communication plan, make sure the right folks are being informed, make sure that communication's coming at the appropriate time and in advance, and that no one's caught off guard. So now that we've covered some of the highlights for preparing for the change, the next video will go into the change itself. So feel free to click on and find out a little bit more about stage 2 in this process.